Welcome to Amy Learns to Cook. Yesterday I was at my local craft store and I saw these two cute little pilgrims and I thought they would be great inspiration for our next dish. Now the fall is approaching. We need to start utilizing fall vegetables. And one classic fall vegetable is the pumpkin. Pumpkins are great for more than just carving up as jack-o'-lanterns and scaring your neighbors at your front porch. They are great in cooking. You can make soups and you can make great desserts. So on the show today, we are going to make my famous pumpkin pie cake. Now you say, are you making a pumpkin pie or are you making a cake? We are making a cake that's flavored like a pumpkin pie. So let's make pumpkin pie cake. Okay, so the first step to our recipe is to mix the dry ingredients. So we need 2 cups of sifted all-purpose flour. So what we're going to do is we're going to take probably more than 2 cups and put it in here and sift it so it's easy for us to measure. So I'm going to put about 2.5 cups. And we want to sift it into this bowl. Okay, so now we want 2 cups of this sifted flour. We're going to mix our dry ingredients here into another bowl. And I use the leveling method. So we're going to place that in our dry ingredients bowl. Okay. We have 2 cups of sifted all-purpose flour. Okay, so now we're going to measure 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and 2 teaspoons of baking powder. This is going to give us our rise of the cake. We also want 1 teaspoon salt, and we are going to take 2 teaspoons of pumpkin pie spice. And pumpkin pie spice smells just like pumpkin pie. It's sort of the spice that you would use if you were making a pumpkin pie. This is where the pumpkin pie cake comes in, right? So we're going to take 2 teaspoons of pumpkin pie spice into our dry ingredients. And we're just going to go ahead and give this a mix and combine it thoroughly. And it smells so good. That pumpkin pie spice is just pretty amazing. Okay, so let's move on to our wet ingredients. Okay, so now we're going to put in our wet ingredients. We are going to put in 4 eggs into the bowl of our stand mixer. If you don't have a stand mixer, it's just fine to use a hand mixer, or you just, use a bowl and mix it by hand. So we have 4 eggs. We have 1 2/3 cup of sugar. Sweeten it up nicely. We have 1 cup of oil. And we have 1 15-ounce can of pumpkin. And we're going to put that in here with the rest of our ingredients. It smells really good. Starting to smell like fall in here. Okay, so we are going to lift our bowl here on the mixer and we're going to give it a whirl. You want to mix this just until it's fluffy, light and fluffy. Make sure it's all combined. Okay, so now that it's all combined, we are going to add our dry ingredients. So we had mixed together flour, baking soda, baking powder, and a little bit of pumpkin pie spice, right? And we are going to add this to our wet ingredients. You want to do this slowly, otherwise you're going to have a face full of flour, right? So turn your mixer on low and drop in the dry ingredients. And you may have to scrape it down a little bit just to make sure that all the ingredients are incorporated at the bottom. And now we have our batter. Okay, so now that we have our pumpkin pie cake all mixed and ready to go, we've preheated our oven to 350, and now we're going to grease the pan. Now you can use two 8-inch round cake pans and unpan them and frost it like a layer cake if you would like. I'm going to make it sort of family style because this is a comfort food cake, right? So we're just going to make this in a 13x9 pan, and we're going to frost it in here, and we're going to cut it right out of this pan, right? So we're going to take a little shortening, and we're just going to grease this pan up a little bit to help with the sticky factor, right? And we're going to take our batter. It's here in our mixer bowl. I'm going to scrape it off the paddle real quick. We don't want to lose any of that, right? And we're just going to give this a whirl real quick to make sure it's nice and mixed together. And we're just going to put the batter into our cake pan. You want to make sure you scrape it all out so you get all that pumpkin-y goodness, right? And we're just going to spread it out in this pan so it's nice and even. So we get a nice and even cake. And now we're ready for the oven. So you're going to bake your pumpkin pie cake for 30 minutes or until the toothpick comes out clean in a 350-degree oven. Okay, so it's baked for about 30 minutes, and we're going to test it with a toothpick, and the toothpick is coming out clean, so it's ready. We're going to let this cool completely, and then we're going to frost it. You want to make sure that all the heat is out of it, otherwise it will melt the frosting. So let it cool completely, and then we will put on the frosting. Okay, so our cake is nice and cool. You want to make sure it's totally cool, otherwise your icing might melt. So I made a quick 7-minute frosting. I'll probably show you this on a future show, but use whatever kind that you like best. Cream cheese frosting or just regular vanilla, right? And we're going to take this and we're going to cover our cake. And let's pile it up here. And just spread your frosting. I got a little crumbs in there. That's okay because this is just a family style cake, right? We'll spread the frosting out. Now we're going to take a taste. Okay, so let's go ahead and cut a nice piece out of here. And this is just a family style hometown cake, right? Nothing fancy, just delicious. And we're going to serve our piece up here. Whoop. Got a little frosting on my fingers. That's okay. I don't mind that, right? And now let's take a taste. Wow, smells great. This is one of the best pumpkin cakes I've ever had. One more bite. Wow. There's a really strong pumpkin pie flavor. Pumpkin pie cake. Go ahead and give it a try. If you like this recipe, please subscribe down below and visit my webpage at amylearnstocook.com. Also, I'm on Twitter at twitter.com/amylearnstocook.
I'd say it's pretty good. And that's before she even ate her piece. Do I miss any? Do I? The ultimate pig, you go back to the leftovers and you grab this thing.